This massive gaming monitor costs a hefty $1,200, but that actually makes it amazing value and one of the best gaming monitors available right now. Here's why. So this is the Samsung G95SC, which is one of the company's 2023 QD-OLED gaming monitors. That means it doesn't boast the higher brightness and durability of Samsung's upcoming 2024 QD-OLED panels, but this display still delivers amazing image quality, fantastic gaming performance, and has loads of extra features. Plus, it's huge. When even 27-inch OLED displays don't go for much cheaper than $800, to pay only $400 more and get a 49-inch screen and loads of extra features like a remote control, a smart TV interface and great internal speakers makes this panel amazing value right now. There are a few caveats which we'll come to, but let's take a closer look at what this panel offers. So as you can see, this is a curved super wide panel. So it has a 32:9 aspect ratio and a screen size that's equivalent to two 27-inch monitors sat side by side. The curve here isn't super aggressive like on Samsung's Odyssey Arc series, but is instead just enough to pull the distant edges of the screen in a little bit closer. And this actually brings us to one of the first significant disadvantages of this screen, which is that it just takes up loads of space. The width of it with the curve means it basically fills a whole desk, side to side and front to back. It's also really heavy, weighing nearly 30 pounds with the stand attached and 20 pounds without it, so you'll have to pay a premium for a heavy-duty monitor arm if you want to free up some extra desk space. Thankfully, the included stand is a nice compact one that also sits flat, so you can still use the space it takes up. The stand also offers height and tilt adjustment, but can't rotate side to side, and understandably it can't pivot the display into a portrait mode. Although the whole screen is rather large, the way Samsung has gently widened the panel from the ultra-thin edges to the thicker section at the back where all the connectivity hides, makes for an elegant looking screen. It's also helped by the choice of a light silver and white colour scheme rather than a heavy all black look. On the back there's also a ring of RGB lighting that can do various effects, but they're not really noticeable in normal use, so you might as well turn them off. Around the back here we also find the mini joystick for controlling the menus, and the power port, which uses an external power supply, so you'll have to find somewhere to hide the power brick. Plus there's the video and USB connections here. You get one DisplayPort 1.4, a full-sized HDMI 2.1, a mini HDMI 2.1, and a 3-port USB hub. It's a perfectly decent selection, even if the choice of a mini HDMI is a bit awkward. But the placement is just bad. It's really awkward to just reach the ports, and the way the cables hang and are routed through the hole in the stand means strain is put on the ports and turning the monitor can pull on the cables. It's a silly design and something you'll have to be careful of when setting up the display. Along the back of the display are vents for cooling the panel, and inside the display there's actually a small fan as well. The fan is totally inaudible in normal use, but it would have been nice to see a cooling solution that doesn't need to rely on a fan that could eventually break. While there is a control on the back of the panel for the on-screen menus, most of the time you'll want to instead use the infrared remote control. It provides general navigation with a D-pad and quick access to volume adjustment, input changing, and opening up this panel's most divisive feature, its smart TV functions. Yes, packed into this display is a Wi-Fi adapter that lets it connect directly to your home network, so you can fire up all the usual selection of streaming services, which are provided via Samsung's app service that you'll have to sign up for. It's honestly pretty impressive and very convenient to be able to quickly jump into watching Netflix via a remote control, rather than having to use a Windows app or watch via your browser. However, there are some major issues with the system. For a start, as mentioned, the whole lot is powered by a Samsung account, and many of us just don't want to have to sign up to another service to re-download a bunch more apps. Also, the interface is really disruptive. Power on the monitor and it doesn't take you to your primary input, i.e. your PC, but goes to the screen's home page. Hit the home button and instead of opening a compact menu that still allows you to see your desktop, it completely blanks out the screen, taking you back to the home page. Also, while this display has genuinely impressive built-in speakers, if you do need to listen with headphones on and you normally use a different audio output on your PC, such as a USB audio interface, or you use other speakers, the volume control on the remote won't be controlling the volume on your headphones or speakers, so the convenience aspect slightly falls apart. It's all nice to have, but a bit much considering this is primarily a gaming monitor. So to the screen, and it's a huge and lovely looking thing. You get a 5120 by 1440 resolution, which makes for a pixel density of 110 ppi. That's the same density as a 27-inch screen with a 2560 by 1440 resolution, and it offers an ideal balance of sharpness without the pixels being so small that you need to employ Windows display scaling to make things readable. Notably, on the LG 27GR-QE that I also recently reviewed, LG's W-OLED panel tech actually made that display look really bad when it came to overall sharpness, with text in particular really suffering. However, Samsung's QD-OLED technology is far better in this way, so mostly this display is great for work as well as play, though most LCD panels are still slightly better for overall sharpness at the same pixel density. Meanwhile, being an OLED panel, you of course get basically infinite contrast thanks to every single pixel of this panel being able to switch itself off completely. However, the impact of this isn't quite as big as you might expect. With a maximum average brightness of just 250 nits, this panel doesn't really get bright enough to make for truly dazzling HDR, though it's again much better than the LG 27GR-QE, which could only hit 200 nits. This display does though deliver the highly saturated colours you'd expect of a modern OLED, so images can look incredibly lifelike. Also, crucially, while some high colour gamut displays can look oversaturated and unrealistic sometimes, this panel looks true to life and genuinely fantastic right out of the box. If you're looking for eyeball-busting HDR, it's a little underwhelming, but in every other way, it delivers. Then of course we come to gaming. With a 240Hz refresh rate and rated 0.03 millisecond response time, this panel delivers as fast responding an experience as you'd expect of an OLED. Even if my measurements showed the response time varied quite a lot and averaged quite a bit higher than 0.03 milliseconds. The key thing here though is that it's still far faster than any LCD panel and generally a fantastic experience. What's more, while the super wide resolution can look amazing in some games, in some others such as competitive FPS it can be a bit distracting. That's why it's so good that Samsung has added a really simple option to switch to a 16:9 screen size. This blanks out the outer 2/4 of the screen, but it's an ideal mode to use for certain games. There is one final major caveat with this display though, which is reported reliability. The first unit I was sent to review kept on turning itself off, and a check of Samsung's online store shows several customer reviews citing similar issues. The second review unit I was sent has performed flawlessly, and I can't help but wonder if those poorly placed video inputs have been the cause of the failures that have led to many of the complaints. But there's still definitely a little extra risk involved here, especially given the less than amazing customer service from Samsung that some users have reported. Still, if you're willing to take that slight risk and after a truly huge OLED gaming monitor, the price of this panel right now is really compelling, and the performance on offer is superb.